so our next topic is technical notes. All right, so our technical notes are, for instance, how do you tell your editor, or remind yourself, that you want text on the screen, such as alternate subtitles. If you want, like how some films do the Philadelphia, Philadelphia 1988, something like that. That's in your narrative. And what you say then is, text appears on screen in your narrative. And that can be all in capitals. Yes, she's a
Let me ask you a question on that.
Here.
You're going to have a voiceover.
Yes.
And why are you having the voiceover read what they're going to have, like a poem or a song or something?
Yeah.
You're going to show it on the screen.
Yes.
So how would you say?
I would say Mark's song, the lyrics of Mark's song scroll on the screen as he sings.
Okay.
So you don't use the word super.
So you'd say
You
like,
say text on, instead of super, you put text on screen.
You
just
just put
say
text.
text appears on screen, and then you put a colon and then say Philadelphia 1988 or whatever.
Yes, that's exactly right. That's it. And now I'm kind of a brat, especially if I know someone else is going to be editing my work, and I'll be like, text on screen, sans serif, Candera, point size 11. I mean, I get like Max is like, and Max is always, I love working editing on here, so if you just tell me exactly what to do. And I'm sure he's got like headphones on, he's probably bobbing to music the whole time. Like, I just do what mom does and tells me to do, and there we go. But you don't have to be that specific, you can just say text on screen. Sometimes, I think I would suggest to writers that you at least tell the editor where to put it. Like, lower left or centered, because that would be horrible if like you get a cutback from them and they did like this amazing job and the only thing you want changed is for them to move text and they have to re-render the whole thing again.
Yeah.
So it's just like, give them a little bit of direction. Okay.
So again, is it text on screen in centered, and then below it typed up, or?
No, just in the narrative. So text appears on screen, colon, Philadelphia 1988. Philadelphia, comma, 1988.
Okay.
Yep, just very, very basic, because those kind of notes don't have to pop as much because they're going to be read by the editor. They're not going to be read in the moment on set. It's those things that we try to make very, very obvious. Because actually all of these now, this section is all going to be about editorial type
But
notes.
if it's okay, so if you're putting the screenplay script in, you can just simply say poem by me, and then later on give them, or because I'm doing the voiceover on scene, I don't need to send that in, or do I need to actually put whatever else, the short poem or whatever else I'm supposed to put in there?
Well, if you were turning in a script to try to get it greenlit,
Right.
then you would definitely want to both put what you have on the screen and what you're actually saying.
Okay, the voiceover.
Yeah, I would do it. I would do it.
And it just goes back and forth and back and forth. It's not
Yes.
blocked in like dialogue would be or anything, where it's
Nope.
like, nope, okay.
No.
All right.
Okay, split screen. How do you write in modular method to show a split screen? So for instance, shot 12 is a split screen of me and Christopher because we're on the phone with each other. You know that. It's usually used in comedies. I wouldn't use it in something really serious.
Yeah.
And so, I'm like this with my phone and Christopher's like this with his phone. And we're on a split screen. We're in two totally different locations. Obviously, that's two shots, right? But in your film, in your final film, it's going to be one shot. And this is what I have used in the past. Shot 12, split screen. Jennifer, frame left, talks on her phone, standing in her kitchen. Frame right, Christopher stands on his phone in the park, talking to Jennifer. We do it in narrative, 12, and we have, mid-shot. We say where they are in terms of framed, like which character is framed left, which character is framed right.
Okay.
You always want to say that. And then what you want to do is when you then shoot this, then in narrative you just describe what people are seeing as if it's one shot. And then you just add in one of those nifty brackets, and this is your production note. This is a split screen, 2 shots. Now it might seem silly, you're like, well, it's obvious it's gonna be a split screen, but here's the thing, it's often not obvious. And what we have run into in the past when I'm not on set is someone will shoot a split screen, they'll put both of their characters dead center, which makes it so hard for the editor.
Yeah.
You want to, most cameras, a Nikon definitely has it, has a thing you can turn on called grid. And if you're doing a split screen, you need to film it as if you're filming a split screen. So many people create so much extra work for the editors, which then makes the shots not as attractive. So you need to flush the person who's on the right-hand side on the right-hand side of their frame. And also, if you're shooting Christopher in mid-shot, you need to shoot Jennifer in mid-shot.
So you're gonna put that first, this is a
Yep.
split screen shot, 2 shots.
This can be last. It
That's
can be
gonna be
last,
last,
it can be
okay.
first, it can be whatever you want.
Okay, but that's gotta be
Production
something.
notes, the
Okay.
trick is with production notes, Mark, they
Yeah.
just have to be in brackets
Okay.
and they're part of the narrative.
Okay.
And then when you guys are working with your script, you check it off once, you check it off twice.
Yeah.
And that's how you know you've gotten it. So we used to say, do it as like 12A and 12B, but the truth of the matter is the actors didn't know what we were doing.
Right.
They're like, which one, where, how, what? And it just never worked out. So the thing you can do wrong with split screen isn't so much how you write it in the script. It's
Yeah.
easy, just add a production note. Tend to avoid this. The thing you can mess up is not framing your actors properly. You're not actually thinking, what does the other half of this frame look like? Because obviously you're shooting them at completely different times, usually at different locations. You don't want to have like a close-up on Christopher's face while Jennifer's in mid. It looks odd. It's like a giant floating head next to someone from the waist up. And the other thing you want to be careful of is when you have split screens like this, you need to know you're not really going to change your angles. Right? Because imagine that. It stays in split screen, but you're showing like Christopher on half the screen in close-up and then in mid-shot and close-up and in mid. Only you're going to change both characters. You're going to time them perfectly. So these are when you run into these super long shots. Do I tell people to avoid using split screen? Well, of course I do. First of all, it's not good for every project because
Right.
it's
kind of like,
yeah, it's a little kitschy. But the other thing is it's hard to time it. And let's say we're supposed to talk over each other at all. Oh, forget it. Then I can't have someone read opposite Christopher. Because if that reader reads over Christopher, you can't remove the other, oh my gosh, the things people think editors can do blows my mind. It knows no end. So there's your split screen. Specialty cameras, again, production notes. If you are shooting underwater, or if you're shooting infrared, did I just say that right? Infrared. You're going to want to put a production note, this is shot with the underwater camera. Because I got to tell you, I've driven all the way to the coast before and gone, I've got the DSLR, but I don't have our underwater rig. Wonderful. Oh, let me just sit down and rewrite this script.
Yeah.
So if there's a specialty camera, you want to make sure to make a note of it there.
That's bracket? That's a bracket?
That's also a bracket thing. Brackets are so fabulous, but they're always technical notes, They're production notes. Okay, pre-existing footage. Let's say that earlier in your project, or just earlier in the script, you shot Christopher waking up in bed, and it was this one particular angle, and then he sits up. Okay, and then because it's a Groundhog Day type of film, you want to revisit that footage. And you don't want to reshoot it. You want it to be the exact same footage. Then what I do is, so now we're further in the script, right? Now we're like at shot 73.
Yeah.
And I say, footage, hyphen, shot 4. That's like one of my favorite type of shots. Just right, guess what you have. Likewise, what if you're like, Jennifer, oh my gosh, I just saw your film with Daryl Robert Small, The Trees Have Names. How, on a micro budget, you are lying, girl. How did you get that freaking inside the car? The car hits something in the dark night. It rolls over with the camera inside it. The windshield explodes in on the driver and the passenger, and then the car is laying on its side, and the ambulance is there, and the paramedics, and we see Daryl's feet as he walks toward the car with the blood dripping, and we see from under the carriage of the car, how in the heck did you get those 3 shots? And I'll say, stock footage, baby. That's stock footage. That was the most expensive scene I've ever done. Everyone goes, oh, we could tell. I'm like, yeah, because I bought that stock footage and it was $49 a clip. That's the most money I've ever spent on any piece of digital effect ever in my life.
Who'd you get it through?
Video blocks.
Video blocks?
So you pay an annual fee for the video blocks, but then you can also buy premium footage for $49 a shot. Now, how do you write that kind of shot? You write it as footage, so you still keep footage here, but instead of saying a shot from your script, explain what you want. So just footage like this can mean pre-existing footage or it can mean stock footage. I tend not to put stock footage there, only because sometimes I don't want to give my secret away.
Right.
And I don't want the actors to feel like, because we found a clip that it looks like Daryl.
Oh.
He's so far away, it's at night.
Wow.
That's cool.
And and this is why these people make their living, is by getting incredible shots just like that. So then you would just say, footage, hyphen, and then describe what you want in the footage. Now, normally what I say to partners that are signed with us is I'll say, go to Video Blocks and see if they've got what you want.
Right.
If it's premium, then you need to know you're going to be paying for it. But if they've got what you want, you can have it. So there you go. And often it isn't premium, it's just part of the standard subscription. Okay, so that's how you do that. But as you can see, you don't put shot type, because a lot of times, we're like, we get what we can use.
Right.
It's the stock footage.
So that would be part of the dialogue, the shot that you're gonna put in there. You'd say 73 footage, and then the dialogue would say scene of a car crash or whatever.
The narrative.
Right?
Yes, exactly. The narrative would just be like, yeah, car crash scene, make car rolled, so make sure it's on its side.
Right.
Something like that. Okay. Moving right along. Sound cues, such as phone ringing, knock on the door, any sound that maybe you have to add in post. If you can do these sounds live in the moment, the story that I told about directional sound, always do them live in the moment. Even if it means someone's got to stand out on the porch in the rain or whatever it is always better to do a practical effect in the moment. However, that's okay. The way you do that is, again, you have your shot type, your shot information, your hyphen, your narrative, and it's moving right along, and then you say sound, all in caps, of a whatever you want, doorbell, phone rings. Now, some people say, can I just say phone rings in capital letters? And I'm like, you can, but then you better definitely be doing it practical in the moment. Because an editor is looking for this sound. In other words, like add a sound here. So I like to, even if it makes it a little bit cumbersome, as opposed to saying phone rings, I say sound of a phone ringing. Yes.
But I know in regular scripts, anytime there's a sound, you capitalize it, like she screams or something, or
The word screams.
he laughs or something.
Is screams, would that be, or a phone ringing, would phone ringing be capped, sound phone ringing?
I would say sound. I think how I would do it is I would just capitalize the word sound
And not phone ringing?
and not phone ringing, because as soon as we see sound, we know what it's going to be. We know that there's something's going to happen there. In terms of how to do a scream, I think, to be honest, that's an actor who has to do that. I would put it as dialogue, perhaps off screen, and then leave, and then as a parenthetical, screams. One of the things that I started doing, I believe, with our short film trade, which is very, very recent, like Jared's house, is I actually started adding costume tags. This is not an official rule yet, but as someone who makes a lot of films every year, let me just say, this really helped. So again, this is not gonna be on the test, which I'm not supposed to say, but this is not gonna be on the test.
Yeah.
Just wait, but it is.
At least it's not gonna be on the test as the test is right now. So actually, I guess that's why I'm not supposed to say that kind of stuff, is that the test changes periodically. So what I do is I say the first time we see a character in an outfit for the first time, I'll say like Gail in outfit 1, all capitalized. So sometimes I describe what someone's wearing, but this went kind of a step further and I tagged it, like this is outfit 1. And actually I found that for my actors, it was really easy then if we didn't shoot chronologically, that they could jump right to the scene and go, oh, okay, I'm in outfit 3, and in my head I've decided this is my outfit 3.
And where do you put what outfit 1 is, and what outfit 2 and what outfit 3 is?
If I really have with our series Sound Crossing, for instance, it was very important to me how certain characters dressed. So in that, would put like Gail in outfit 1, plaid pajamas and a t-shirt, period, or plaid pajamas and a t-shirt, comma, stands in the bathroom. I would put it there. If I don't have a strong feeling about what someone's gonna wear, and then there's the in-between, which we'll get to that in a minute. If I don't have a strong feeling, I just say outfit 1, and then I reach out to the actor, or they reach out to me, and I say, this is basically how I see this character dressing, skirts and blouses, jeans, hoodies. And then there's that in-between, like with Christopher's character in Jared's house. I was fine with pretty much any way he wanted to dress, but I needed him to wear this one particular pendant. It's a meditation pendant. And so I'm like, whatever you wear, know that this is gonna go on over it. I'm bringing that, I just need you to bring your clothes. But these outfit tags, I've never had so many people thank me. Because they were just like, I knew exactly what to bring where.
Yeah.
And already as independent filmmakers, we're asking the actors to do more than a SAG project would ask them to do. Not as long hours, but they're getting paid union rates. So I'm like, we have to treat them well, or they will choose not to work with us, period. And then they will choose not to work sometimes, because it is such a competitive industry. So I do wardrobe tags now, costume tags. Production notes, actually, we've covered pretty much extensively, haven't we? So anything in brackets in your narrative is a production note, like about equipment, or maybe you want to make a special note to yourself about, make sure this actor is lit properly, because we're in a very dark scene. Or check this to make sure it is not grainy, because this location is very tricky. You can make little notes to yourself like that. And then props, actually I think we already covered props as well. Making your pivotal props bold. Make it easy on yourself. You wind up doing everything in modular method projects. So make it easy on yourself. Okay, and that is the end of this section.